Chosen one, do not scroll. Stop your thumb. Right there. Right now. You were not looking for this video. This video was looking for you. Because there is a name in your mouth tonight that should not still be there. There is a person you keep reaching for in your mind at 2 in the morning, and you cannot understand why they left. You replay the last conversation. You search for the moment it broke. You ask yourself what you did wrong, what you said, what you should have said, what you could have been. And I am here to tell you something that will change the entire architecture of your grief. They did not leave you. I removed them. That silence you have been mourning was not rejection. It was rescue. That door that closed without explanation was not a punishment. It was protection. That friend who went cold, that partner who walked out, that family member who suddenly could not stand the sight of you, they were not taken from you. They were taken out of your way. And in the next few minutes, I am going to show you exactly why. I am going to show you what they would have cost you if they had stayed. I am going to show you the assignment they were never able to carry. I am going to show you how to tell the difference, moving forward, between someone I sent and someone I am about to subtract. And before this is over, I am going to tell you about the people already being prepared for you, people you have not met yet, people who are being shaped in rooms you have never entered, people who will not need to be convinced of your worth because they will recognize you on sight. But first, hear this, because everything else rests on it. You did not stumble here. The exact second you stopped scrolling was written before your mother knew your name. Every wrong turn, every closed door, every heartbreak that felt like the end, all of it was current, moving you toward this precise moment, this precise message, this precise night. Nothing about your life has been random, not even the parts that hurt, especially not the parts that hurt. So comment 777 right now, before you go 1 second further. Not because a number carries magic, but because I am watching who responds to my voice before they understand it. Obedience before explanation is the oldest signature of the chosen. Type it and mark yourself as one who answered when I called and did not wait for proof first. Now come closer, because what I am about to tell you, most people will never be told. Chosen one, you have been carrying a wound that was never meant to be a wound. You have been treating a surgery like an assault. Let me explain what I mean. There is a moment in every vineyard, in every orchard, in every garden that ever produced anything worth harvesting, a moment when the gardener comes with a blade. And to the untrained eye, what he does looks like destruction. He cuts, he removes, he strips branches that look perfectly alive. He takes away growth that seems healthy. Green leaves fall to the ground. The tree looks smaller when he is finished than when he started. A child watching would cry. A child would say, "Why are you hurting it? Why are you taking away the parts that were growing?" But the gardener knows something the child does not know. He knows that a branch can be alive and still be a thief. He knows that a limb can be green and still be pulling nutrition away from the fruit. He knows that a tree that is allowed to keep everything it grows will never produce anything worth eating. He knows that abundance without subtraction is just clutter. He knows that the difference between a wild tree and a fruitful one is not sunlight, is not water, is not soil. It is the blade. Chosen one, you have been pruned, and you mistook it for punishment. That is why the grief has been so heavy. Not because the loss was greater than other people's losses, but because you have been grieving without understanding, and grief without understanding is the heaviest weight a human soul can carry. You have been asking the wrong question. You have been asking, why did they leave me? And the right question, the question that unlocks everything, is, what was I about to become that required their absence? Because I do not remove people from unimportant lives. Hear that again. I do not prune what I do not intend to harvest. Nobody takes a blade to a weed. Nobody carefully cuts back a plant they do not expect fruit from. The very fact that your life has been cut again and again in ways that made no sense to you and no sense to the people watching, that is not evidence that you are cursed. That is evidence that you are cultivated. There is a difference between neglect and pruning, and you have been reading one as the other. Neglect is what happens when nobody is tending you. Pruning is what happens when someone is tending you with such precision, such intention, such long-range vision, that they are willing to be misunderstood by you in the short term to protect you in the long term. I have been willing to be misunderstood by you, for years in some cases. You have been angry with me. Do not pretend you have not been. You have prayed and gotten silence. You have begged me to fix a relationship I was in the middle of dismantling. You have asked me to bring back someone I had already escorted out, and when nothing changed, you decided either that I was not listening, or that I did not care, or that you had done something so wrong that you had been disqualified. None of that was true. I was not silent because I was absent. I was silent because an explanation given too early would have made you fight the very thing that was saving you. If I had told you in that season, this person is going to hinder your calling, you would not have believed me. You loved them too much. You were too entangled. You would have argued with me. You would have defended them. You would have said, "You do not understand them like I do." So I did not argue. I simply moved. And now that the dust has settled, now that enough time has passed that you can look back with clear eyes, I am telling you the truth I withheld while you were too close to it. They were removed. And it was me. Now stay with me, because I am about to show you the 4 kinds of people I remove, and you are going to recognize at least one of them by name before I finish. And when you hear the 4th one, the one most chosen ones never see coming, the one that hurts the most and helps the most, I want you to understand something about a specific person in your life right now. Someone who is still here, someone who is on the edge, but I am not ready to tell you about them yet. First, you have to understand something about seasons. Chosen one, not everyone who walks with you was ever meant to arrive with you. This is one of the hardest truths I ever give a human heart, and I give it to you tonight because you are strong enough now to hold it. You were not strong enough 3 years ago. You are strong enough now. That is why this message found you tonight and not then. Some people are assigned to a chapter, not to the book. Think about the structure of any journey. Think about a long expedition across difficult terrain. There are guides who take you through the mountains, and they are excellent in the mountains, and they know every pass and every shelter and every danger, and when you reach the desert, they turn back. Not because they betrayed you, because the desert was never their territory. Their expertise ended where your journey continued. If you insisted that they come with you into the desert, you would not be honoring them. You would be killing them. And you would be endangering yourself, because now you are following someone into terrain they do not know, and their confidence is no longer competence. It is just noise. Some of the people you lost were mountain guides. They were real. What you had was real. The laughter was real. The years were real. The love was real. I am not asking you to rewrite history and pretend they were always fake, always using you, always secretly your enemy. Some of them were genuinely good to you for exactly as long as they were assigned to be, and then the assignment ended. Do you know what happens when a person stays past their assignment? Something in them begins to sour. They become resentful without knowing why. They start to compete with you instead of celebrating you. Their advice starts to shrink you instead of stretch you. The very person who once encouraged you begins, quietly, to need you to stay the same. Because if you change, they lose their place. I have watched this happen 1,000 times in 1,000 lives. A friendship that was pure in year 2 becomes poison in year 9. Not because either person became evil, but because one of them kept walking and the other one stopped, and neither was honest enough to name it. So I name it, with a departure, with a distance, with a phone that stops ringing. I end it before it rots. You called that abandonment. I called it mercy, for both of you. And here is what I need you to understand about your own heart. You have a loyalty in you that is beautiful and dangerous. Beautiful because it means you do not discard people. Dangerous because it means you will carry someone long past the point where carrying them is destroying you. You would have kept that friendship for another decade. You would have kept apologizing for existing. You would have kept shrinking to make the room comfortable. You would never have let them go. So I did it for you. I have done things for you that you would never have had the strength to do for yourself. That is not a criticism. That is a description of what it means to be led by me. There are decisions in your life that were made above your head because you were too tender to make them. And every one of those decisions is a reason you are still standing. Now, before I go further, and I am going further, because there is a specific revelation coming about the person who hurt you the most and what they're leaving actually purchased for you, take 1 second and press like on this message. Not for me, for the next chosen one. There is someone tonight sitting in a car in a parking lot, unable to go inside, holding a phone, one scroll away from this exact video, and whether it finds them depends on whether you moved. Press like. Subscribe if you have not, so that the next word I send you does not get lost in the noise. Some of you have been asking me for direction, and I have been sending it. You just have not been positioned to receive it. Be positioned. Now let me tell you about the 4 kinds of people I remove. The first are the anchors. An anchor is a person who is not evil, not cruel, not malicious, but who is fundamentally committed to your smallness. They are comfortable with the version of you they met. They built their sense of self around that version. And when you began to change, when the hunger woke up in you, when you started praying differently and thinking differently and refusing things you used to accept, they experienced your growth as an accusation. Nobody says it out loud. Nobody says, I need you to stay stuck so that I can feel okay about being stuck. But that is the transaction underneath 1,000 friendships. You started talking about your dream and they laughed. Not cruelly, just enough. Just a small laugh that took the air out of the room. You said you were going to change your life and they said, you have said that before. You told them about the vision and they immediately listed the obstacles and they called it being realistic. And you believed them because they had known you a long time and surely they knew what you were capable of. They did not. They knew what you had been capable of. Those are entirely different things. An anchor holds a ship in place. That is its purpose. And there is a season when a ship must be held in place, in the harbor, during a storm, while repairs are made. Anchors are not evil, but a ship that never lifts its anchor is not a ship. It is a very expensive decoration. I cut your anchor chain. You called it a betrayal. It was a departure. The ship began to move and you had never felt movement before, so you thought you were falling. The second kind are the mirrors that lie. These are people who reflected a false image back to you. Some of them flattered you into passivity, telling you that you had already arrived when you had barely started, keeping you fat on compliments so you never got hungry. Others did the opposite. They reflected an image so diminished, so critical, so relentlessly negative that you began to believe the reflection was the reality. Chosen one, you have spent years looking into faces that showed you someone who is not you. Do you know how much of your self-image was installed by people who are no longer in your life? Think about it. That voice in your head that says you are too much. Whose voice is that? It is not yours. You did not think that about yourself when you were 6. Somebody handed it to you. That belief that you are difficult to love, that people always leave, that you have to earn your place in every room, somebody put that there. And I have been systematically removing the people who kept reinforcing it. Because you cannot become who I made you to be while standing in front of a mirror that shows you a stranger. So I broke the mirror. And breaking a mirror is loud and frightening and leaves glass everywhere. And for a while you had no reflection at all. And that season of having no reflection is what you have been calling loneliness. It was not loneliness. It was the interval between the false mirror and the true one. The third kind are the leaks. There are people whose presence in your life created a slow, invisible drain. Not a dramatic theft, a leak. You would spend 3 hours with them and need 2 days to recover. You would hang up the phone and feel like you had been running. You could not point to anything they did wrong. There was no incident. There was just a consistent, unexplainable depletion. You brought them your good news and it came back smaller. You brought them your joy and it came back qualified. You brought them your excitement, and they had a story about someone who tried that and failed. Chosen one, energy is not infinite, and I did not give you your energy so that it could be spent maintaining people who never intended to be filled. Some people are not cups, they are drains, and no matter how much you pour, the level never rises, because the purpose of a drain is not to hold, it is to take away. I sealed the leak. You noticed the loss of noise before you noticed the return of strength. That is normal. Silence feels like poverty until you realize it is actually the sound of your own resources staying where they belong. And the fourth kind, this is the one I promised you, and this is the one that will heal something tonight if you let it. The fourth kind are the ones who were removed for their protection, not yours. I want you to sit with that. Some people were taken out of your life because they could not survive what was coming to you. Your calling is heavy. It is heavier than you understand yet, and it is going to get heavier before it gets glorious. The weight that is coming toward you would have crushed them. The visibility that is coming toward you would have exposed them. The pace that is coming toward you would have broken them. And because I am not only your God, I am theirs too, I made a decision that served you both. I released them before the pressure arrived. I let them go while they still had their dignity, while they still had good memories of you, while they could still say your name without bitterness. If they had stayed, they would have grown to hate you. Read that again in your heart. If that person had stayed in your life through what is coming, the ending would not have been a quiet drifting apart. It would have been a detonation. There would have been contempt. There would have been public damage. There would have been a version of that story that neither of you would ever recover from. I gave you a soft ending instead of a catastrophic one. You wanted an explanation. What I gave you instead was an exit with the doors intact. Now, do you feel that shifting inside you? That is not emotion. That is reframing. That is a memory being handed, a new meaning. And I am not finished with your memories. There are 3 or 4 moments in your past that you have filed under failure, under humiliation, under my fault. And before this message ends, I am going to refile every one of them. But I need to address the thing you have been doing in secret. Chosen one, stop reaching backward. I see it. I see the drafted message you never sent. I see the profile you check. I see the way you rehearse the conversation, where you finally explain yourself and they finally understand and everything goes back. I see you constructing the apology you would accept if it ever came. Let it go. Not because you are weak for wanting it, because a chosen one who spends their strength trying to reopen a door I closed is fighting me and calling it love. Understand what happens when you chase what I removed. You do not just fail to get them back. You delay the arrival of what I was clearing space for. Every hour you spend at the closed door is an hour you are not standing where the new thing is trying to find you. There is a picture I want to put in your mind, and I want you to keep it forever. Imagine a person standing in a doorway with their arms full of things they are carrying, things they have carried for years, things that have gone bad, things that no longer belong to them. And imagine there is a delivery coming, something enormous, something they have prayed for through 100 sleepless nights. The delivery cannot be given. There are no hands free to receive it. So the doorkeeper does something that looks cruel. He takes things out of their arms. He does not ask. He does not explain. He removes and removes and removes, and the person is screaming, "Why are you taking my things?" And every removal feels like a robbery. And then the delivery arrives, and their arms are empty, and they can hold it. That is what has been happening to you. Every subtraction has been a preparation. The emptiness you have been mourning is not a wound, it is capacity. And I will tell you plainly, some of you are almost at the end of the subtraction. Some of you are in the last few weeks of it. The reason it has felt so intense recently, the reason it seems like everything has been shaking at once, is not that the storm is worsening. It is that the storm is finishing. Storms are always loudest right before they break open into clear sky. But do not run ahead of me, because there is one more removal coming for some of you, and I want you to be ready for it instead of devastated by it. I will name it before we are through. And when I name it, you will already know who I mean, because their face is going to come into your mind the second I begin to describe them. Not yet. First, let me take you into the record. Let me show you that this pattern is not something I invented for your life. It is how I have always moved with the ones I set apart. Consider the man I called out of Ur. He was old, he was settled, he had a household, he had a father, he had a nephew, he had a life that made sense. And the first instruction I gave him was not a promotion, it was a subtraction. Leave your country, leave your kindred, leave your father's house. 3 removals before a single promise was fulfilled. He obeyed most of it, but he brought the nephew, he brought Lot. Because Lot was family, and family feels like loyalty, and loyalty feels like righteousness. And what happened? Their possessions grew until the land could not hold them both. Their herdsmen fought. Strife entered where there had been peace. And finally there had to be a separation, and it happened in a field, painfully, in front of everyone. Here is what I want you to see. Only after the separation did I speak the fullness of the promise. Only after Lot walked one way and Abraham walked the other did I say, lift up your eyes now and look, north, south, east, west, all the land you see, I will give to you. The vision came after the separation. Chosen one, some of you have been begging me to show you your future while you were still holding on to your lot. And I could not show you, because a vision given to a divided man will only make him more divided. So I waited, and I removed. And now that your hands are free and your household is quiet, I am lifting your eyes. Look north, look south, look east, look west. Consider the prophet Elijah and the young man who was called to follow him. Do you remember what Elisha did on the day of his calling? He was plowing with 12 yoke of oxen. And when the mantle came across his shoulders, he did not simply walk away from the field. He slaughtered the oxen. He burned the plow. He used the equipment of his old life as fuel to cook a farewell meal for the people of his old life. He made return impossible. And then he served. And then he walked. And when Elijah tested him, "Stay here, the Lord has sent me on," he said, "As your soul lives, I will not leave you." 3 times he was told to stay behind. 3 times he refused. Because there is a difference between a person who leaves you and a person who cannot be shaken off you. The ones who left you were tested and they chose the exit. And you have spent months believing that says something about your worth. It does not. It says something about their capacity. Testing does not create character. Testing reveals it. Everything the pressure removed from your life was already loose. Pressure does not break what is bolted down. It only exposes what was resting on the surface. If it fell off when the shaking came, it was never attached. Consider Joseph, thrown into a pit by the only people who shared his blood, sold, trafficked, erased from his father's house. There is no version of that story where the pain was not real. He wept. Years later, standing in power, he still wept so loudly that the Egyptians outside the room heard him. But listen to what he said when he finally faced the brothers who removed him. He did not say it did not happen. He did not say it did not hurt. He said, "You meant it for evil. God meant it for good." 2 intentions riding the same event. Chosen one, this is the deepest thing I will say to you tonight, so slow down here. The people who left you may have left for petty reasons, selfish reasons, cowardly reasons. Their motive may have been genuinely small. That can be true. And at the same time, I was using their smallness as an instrument. Their exit was their choice and my decision simultaneously. They chose the door. I built the corridor. They walked away thinking they were free of you. They were actually being escorted off the property of your destiny by a hand they never saw. Do you understand? You do not need them to have been evil for the removal to have been divine, and you do not need them to have been good for the pain to have been purposeful. Both intentions ran through the same moment, and only one of them is still operating in your life today. Theirs expired, mine did not. Consider Ruth and Orpah, 2 women, same tragedy, same widowhood, same mother-in-law, same crossroads on the same road on the same day. and Naomi told them both to go back. Both of them wept. Both of them loved her. But at the fork in the road, Orpah kissed her and turned back, and Ruth clung to her and said, "Where you go, I will go. Your people will be my people. Your God will be my God." Here is what I need you to notice. Orpah was not a villain. There is no curse pronounced on Orpah. She did the reasonable thing. She did the expected thing. She went home to safety, and she disappeared from the story forever. Chosen one, some people did not betray you. They just chose comfort at the crossroads. And the crossroads is where every chosen life is sorted, because the road you are on does not offer guarantees, and the people who require guarantees will always turn back. Do not curse the ones who turned back. Just understand that the story continued without them, and it had to. Consider David, who was not removed from Saul's court because David sinned. He was driven out because he succeeded, because the women sang a song with the wrong numbers in it, because Saul's ceiling was David's floor, and no man survives long in a house where his growth is experienced as an insult. David ran to a cave, and in that cave, everyone who was in distress, everyone in debt, everyone discontented, gathered to him. 400 men, the people the kingdom had discarded, and those cave men became his mighty men, the ones whose names are still recorded thousands of years later, the ones who broke through enemy lines to bring him a drink of water because he mentioned he was thirsty. You cannot get cave loyalty inside a palace. Some of you have been mourning the palace. I moved you to the cave because that is where your real people are, and they do not know you yet, and they will never find you in a room full of people who tolerate you. And consider the one who walked among crowds of thousands, and fed them, and healed them, and watched them follow him for the bread, and then said one hard thing, one demanding thing, one thing that required them to actually surrender, and they left. From that time, many of his disciples went back and walked with him no more. Many, not a few, many. And he turned to the 12 who remained and said, "Will you also go away?" He did not chase the crowd. He did not soften the message. He did not run down the road negotiating. He let the crowd thin, and he looked at what was left, and he built the entire future on the remainder. The remnant is always smaller and always stronger. Chosen one, your circle has been thinning. That is not decline. That is refinement. And you have been counting the loss instead of weighing what remains. Now, take a breath, because we are about to move from the past into the present, and I want your full attention for the next part. If you are still here, if you have not clicked away, if these words have been landing in your chest and not just your ears, that is not endurance. That is recognition. Something in you already knew this. I am not informing you. I am confirming you. Comment 777 if you have not yet. Not as a ritual, as a record. Years from now, you will scroll back to that comment and you will remember exactly where you were sitting and what you were carrying on the night. The meaning of your losses changed. And press like and subscribe and turn on the notifications, because the next message is already being prepared, and it is not general. It is specific. There are things I want to say to you about the next 12 weeks that I cannot say tonight. Now let me tell you why you are still grieving even after you have understood. Understanding does not cancel grief. That is not a defect in you. That is how a heart is built. You can know completely that the surgery was necessary and still feel the incision. The knowledge lives in one room. The pain lives in another. And the work of healing is not making the pain disappear. It is refusing to let the pain rewrite the knowledge. So here is what I permit you to feel, and I want you to hear this because you have been ashamed of your own sorrow. You are allowed to miss them. You are allowed to miss the sound of their laugh. You are allowed to miss the ease of being known without explanation. You are allowed to miss the version of yourself that existed only in their company. The inside jokes, the shorthand, the way they knew how you took your coffee. Missing them is not disobedience. Missing them is evidence that you loved well. And I would rather have a chosen one who grieves deeply than a chosen one who cannot attach. What I am asking you for is not the end of feeling. It is the end of pursuing. Feel it. do not follow it. There is a vast difference between honoring a season and trying to resurrect it. You can light a candle for what was without trying to drag the corpse back into the house. Grief that is allowed to move becomes wisdom. Grief that is denied becomes bitterness. Grief that is acted on becomes a repeated cycle where you keep signing new leases on demolished buildings. Do not sign the lease again. And chosen one, I want to speak to the specific humiliation of it, because for many of you, the hardest part was not the loss, it was the manner of the loss. They did not just leave, they left without explanation. They left and made you look unstable for being confused. They left and told a story about you that you never got to answer. They left and moved on visibly, publicly, quickly, while you were still lying on the floor. That is the part that has kept you up, not the absence, the injustice. So let me settle something. I keep records. You do not have to defend yourself in a court where I am already the witness. There is a version of the story circulating that is not true, and you have been aching to correct it, and I am telling you to put down the pen. Self-defense is expensive. It costs peace, it costs focus, it costs time, and it never actually works, because a person who wants to believe a lie about you cannot be argued out of it. Vindication is not something you produce. It is something I release. And when I release it, it will not sound like your voice. It will not be a post. It will not be a confrontation. It will be a life. It will be a season of your life so undeniable, so evidently blessed, so obviously carried, that the accusation dies of embarrassment without you ever answering it. You will not have to prove anything. You will simply have to keep walking. Some of you are going to be in a room in the next year with someone who used to speak against you, and you will notice that you feel nothing. Not triumph, not fury, nothing. And that emptiness where the wound used to be will be the loudest proof of healing you have ever experienced. I promised you I would name the one who is still here. Let me approach it carefully, because this part requires precision. There is a person in your life right now who has not left, but there is a friction. There is a sense you keep pushing down. There is a moment recently when they said something and your spirit tightened and you told yourself you were overthinking it. You were not overthinking it. I am not going to tell you to cut them off tonight. I do not deal in impulsive amputations, and anyone who tells you to burn your relationships down in one dramatic evening is not speaking with my voice. I am telling you something more useful. Stop feeding what I am starving. There is a difference between cutting someone off and stopping the extra. You have been over-giving to someone who has been under-reciprocating for years, and you have called it generosity, but it has actually been fear. Fear that if you stopped over-giving, you would find out how little was actually there. You are ready to find out now. So here is your instruction, and it is gentle, and it is devastating in its effectiveness. Stop initiating. Just for a season. Do not announce it. Do not make it a test they can sense. Simply stop being the one who reaches first and see what the relationship does when it has to stand on its own legs. Some of them will rise, and you will be stunned by who calls. There will be someone you almost wrote off who shows up with a consistency you did not expect, and you will realize you had misjudged them because you were exhausted and could not see clearly. And some of them will silently vanish. And when they do, understand that nothing was broken. The scaffolding was simply removed, and the building fell because it was never a building. It was scaffolding around empty air. You did not lose a friendship. You discovered a vacancy that had been furnished by your own effort. Now let me give you discernment, because you asked me for it. Many of you have prayed almost exactly these words. God, show me who is safe. I have heard every one of those prayers, and here is my answer, and I want you to keep it for the rest of your life. Watch what they do with your good news, not your bad news. Anyone can show up for bad news. Bad news costs a person nothing, and it often flatters them. It makes them the strong one, the helper, the one with their life together. Plenty of people love you most when you are on the ground, because on the ground you are not a threat. Your good news is the true examination. Bring someone a genuine victory and watch their face in the first 2 seconds. Before the words. The words are managed, the face is not. There is a flicker in the first moment that tells you everything. Either a light comes on or something closes. The ones I sent you light up. Watch who celebrates you in rooms you are not in. Anyone can be warm to your face. The real question is what happens to your name when you leave. And you cannot know that directly, but you can feel its residue. Some rooms you walk into and you are already welcomed before you speak. That is what happens when someone has been speaking well of you in your absence. And some rooms you walk into and there is a coolness you cannot explain, and you spend the whole evening trying to earn background you did not know you had lost. Trust that coolness. It has a source. Watch whether they need you to be less. Do they get uncomfortable when you set a boundary? Do they punish clarity? Do they respond to your honesty with wounded silence designed to make you apologize for having a need? Then they were never loving you. They were managing you, and the day you stop being manageable is the day the affection evaporates. Watch how they handle your growth. Chosen one, you are going to keep changing. That is not optional. And the fundamental question about every relationship in your life is this: can this connection survive a version of me that is stronger than the version that formed it? Some cannot. Some relationships were built on a foundation of mutual smallness, and the foundation dissolves the moment one person stands up. And watch what they do with your dreams when there is no evidence yet. Anyone can believe in you after you succeed. Belief after evidence is not belief. It is observation. The people I assign to you will believe you before it is reasonable. They will hear the vision when you have nothing to show, when you sound slightly insane, when the plan has holes in it, and something in them will say yes anyway. That yes is my signature on a relationship. When you feel it, honor it. Those people are rare and they are given, not found. And here is the last mark of discernment, and it is the one nobody teaches. Watch your body. Your body has been keeping score longer than your mind has been paying attention. There are people whose name on your screen makes your shoulders rise before you have read a single word. There are people whose presence makes you slightly less funny, slightly less bright, slightly more careful. There are people you have to rehearse before seeing. You should not have to rehearse for love. Peace is not merely the absence of conflict. Peace is a positive signal, and I use it constantly to direct you. If you have to argue your way into peace about a person, you do not have peace. You have persuasion. And now, chosen one, let me speak about what is being prepared. Because I did not bring you here just to explain your losses. Explanation is only the first half. The second half is announcement. While you were grieving the ones who left, I was assembling the ones who are coming. Understand the timeline. The relationships that are about to enter your life were not created last week. They have been in formation. There is a person right now, alive somewhere, who has been going through their own difficult season. Their own removals, their own confusion, their own nights of wondering why nothing works, and every single thing they have suffered has been sanding them into someone capable of standing beside you. Their preparation looks like pain to them right now, exactly as yours has to you. You are both being made ready for a meeting neither of you can see. And here is why I could not send them earlier, and I want you to hear this without shame. The previous version of you would not have recognized them. You would have walked past the right person because you were still calibrated to the wrong ones. You would have found their steadiness boring. You would have mistaken their consistency for a lack of chemistry because you had been trained by chaos to interpret anxiety as attraction. The removals recalibrated you. That is one of the most important functions of everything you have been through. I was not only clearing space, I was changing your taste. The pain did not just empty your life, it changed what you find appealing. And a person whose appetite has been corrected will make different choices without effort, without willpower, without a single rule written down. You have been changed at the level of desire. That is why you can no longer tolerate what you used to chase. The new relationships coming to you will not feel like fireworks. I want to prepare you for that, because you have been taught by a broken culture to look for intensity as the sign of significance. What I am sending will feel like recognition. It will feel like exhaling. It will feel like something you did not have to perform for. there will be a strange quietness to it, and the enemy of your peace will whisper, "Is this it? Is this all? Where is the drama?" And you will have to learn a new language, because you have only ever been fluent in turbulence. Calm is not boring. Calm is what safety feels like to a nervous system that has never had it. Some of you are going to meet these people in ordinary circumstances. That will be another test of your faith. You are expecting a lightning bolt, and I am going to send a conversation in a line. A colleague, a neighbor, a person who sits down next to you at an event you almost did not attend. Go to the thing you almost do not attend. I am serious. Some of you have an assignment attached to an invitation you have already half declined in your mind. Reverse it. There is a room with your name in it, and you have been talking yourself out of the door because you have grown accustomed to the safety of solitude. Solitude was a season. It was not a sentence. And I will tell you the hardest part of what is coming, so that you are not caught off guard. You are going to have to trust again. That is the price of the new. And there is a part of you, hardened by everything, that has quietly decided that the safest life is one where nobody can get close enough to leave. You have called it wisdom. It is not wisdom. It is a scar that started giving orders. Do not let your scar tissue run your life. Scar tissue has no vision. It only remembers. It is designed to prevent the last injury, and it will happily prevent the next blessing to do it. You will have to open a door that a previous person walked out of. That is not naivety. That is courage. And it is the specific courage I have been building in you through every single one of these removals. Now, listen, because there is something I want to correct in how you are seeing yourself. You have been asking, what is wrong with me that people keep leaving? Turn the question over. What is right with you that requires this much clearing? Nobody clears an empty lot. Clearing is expensive, and it is only ever done in preparation for construction. The scale of the demolition tells you the scale of the building. If I have removed this many people from your life, it is because what is being built cannot rest on that foundation. You are not the common denominator of failure. You are the site of a project. And there is something else you must understand about the ones who left. Some of them will come back. I want to prepare you for that too, because it will happen when you are finally at peace, and it will test you more than the leaving did. When your life begins to visibly turn, and it will, some of them will reappear. There will be a message. There will be a casual reaching out. There will be a nostalgia offensive, a memory referenced, a soft opening of a door that they slammed. Hear me clearly. Do not be cruel, but do not be automatic. Not every return is a restoration. Some people are not returning to you. They are returning to what you now have access to. And the way to tell the difference is simple and unfailing. A genuine return comes with ownership. It names what happened. It does not pretend. It does not skip to pleasantries. A person truly restored by me will address the thing, because I do not restore relationships without dealing with truth. If they will not name it, they are not returning. They are re-entering. And re-entry without accountability is just the same story with new dates on it. Some of you have already let someone back in twice on the strength of a vague apology, and you know exactly what happened the third time. Not again. Not this version of you. And to be entirely fair, I will say this. There are one or two people I actually will bring back. Reconciliation is real. I am a God of restoration as much as I am a God of removal. But my restorations are unmistakable. They come with changed behavior over time, not changed words in a moment. They come with patience. A truly restored person does not demand immediate access. They understand that trust is rebuilt at the speed of consistency. If someone is pressuring you to skip the rebuilding, they are not interested in the relationship. They are interested in the resource. Now, chosen one, come with me somewhere deeper, because there is a layer under all of this that I have not touched yet. Some of what was removed from your life was not removed to protect your calling from other people. It was removed to protect your calling from your own dependence. There are people I took out of your life not because they were toxic, not because they were anchors or leaks or liars, but because you had made them into a substitute for me. I will not compete. That is not vanity. That is architecture. You were built with a specific center, And when anything other than me sits in that center, your entire life goes slightly out of alignment, and you cannot feel it happening because it happens by degrees. You had made a person your source of validation, your source of security, your first call, your last thought, your emotional weather system. When they were pleased with you, you were fine. When they were distant, you unraveled. Your peace was outsourced to a human being who was never designed to carry the weight of another person's soul. So I removed the substitute, and you experienced withdrawal, and you called it heartbreak. And in that terrible interval, the interval when there was nobody to call, nobody to check with, nobody to reassure you, something happened that could not have happened any other way. You learned to stand. You learned that you could survive a night without being talked down. You learned that you could make a decision without a committee. You learned that the silence would not kill you. You learned to hear my voice, which had always been there but had always been drowned out by the noise of consultation. Every chosen one I have ever used has gone through a wilderness where the crowd was removed. Every single one. Not because I enjoy isolation, but because a person who has never been alone with me will always, in a crisis, look to the crowd. And the crowd is always wrong at the exact moment it matters most. The wilderness was not exile. It was training in a room with no witnesses. And I will tell you what happens on the other side of it. You become dangerous. Not to people, dangerous to darkness. Because a person who does not need the room's approval cannot be controlled by the room's disapproval. And the entire mechanism used to keep chosen ones small runs on the fear of being disliked. You are being made unmanageable by anything but me. That is the gift hidden in every one of those losses. They were not just taking people away, they were taking leverage away. Every departure removed a lever that could have been pulled on you later, at a moment when the pulling would have cost you everything. I did not just clear your circle, I disarmed your future. Now feel this shift, because we are moving into the last stretch and the intensity is rising. There is an appointment coming. I am not going to tell you the date, because if I told you the date, you would stop living and start waiting, and waiting is not the same as preparing. But I will tell you that the season of subtraction has a terminus, and you are nearer to it than you believe. And I will tell you what to do between now and then, because the space between the removal and the arrival is where most chosen ones lose their inheritance. First, do not fill the gap. That is the greatest danger you face right now. An empty space is uncomfortable, and the human instinct is to fill it with anything. The wrong person, offered in a lonely season, feels like water in a desert. It is not water, it is salt, and it will make you thirstier, and it will cost you the very capacity I created by removing the last one. Guard the vacancy. The vacancy is holy. It has been purchased at a price you have already paid in tears, and it would be a tragedy to sell it back for the first warm body that speaks kindly to you in a difficult week. Second, build in the emptiness. Do not merely endure this season. Use it. This is the only stretch of your life where you will have this much uninterrupted access to yourself. There is a skill you have been meaning to develop. There is a discipline you have been putting off. There is a version of your body, your mind, your craft, your prayer life that only gets built in the quiet. The people coming are going to meet a finished thing. Do not make them wait while you become who you should already be. Use the silence. Silence is the most expensive gift I give, and most people waste it scrolling through the lives of those who left. Third, forgive. Not for them, for you. Unforgiveness is a rope tied to your ankle with the other end tied to a person walking in the opposite direction. Every step they take, you feel. Every good thing that happens to them, you bleed. You do not free yourself from someone by hating them. Hatred is one of the strongest forms of attachment that exists. Cut the rope. Not because they earned it, because you have somewhere to be, and you cannot get there dragging a body. And understand what forgiveness is not. It is not reconciliation. It is not access. It is not pretending. It is not saying it was acceptable. Forgiveness is simply the decision to stop demanding a payment from someone who cannot pay you. You are releasing a debt that was never going to be collected, and the only thing you are actually giving up is the fantasy of a repayment that would not have healed you anyway. Even if they apologized perfectly tomorrow, it would not fix the year. Only I can fix the year, and I am already doing it, in ways you will only be able to see looking backward. Fourth, speak differently about your story. Chosen one, I have heard how you narrate your life, the words you use when someone asks how you have been, the way you describe that season. There is a small, defeated phrasing that has crept into your mouth, and every time you speak it, you replant it. Stop saying you were abandoned. Start saying you were separated. Stop saying you lost everyone. Start saying you were assigned a wilderness and you survived it. Stop saying you cannot trust anyone. Start saying your discernment was expensive and now you own it. Words are not decoration. Words are construction material. You are building the room you will live in, one sentence at a time. Now, look at how far you have come tonight. You started this message with a name in your mouth and a wound you did not understand. And I have been rearranging your interior the entire time. That heaviness that has been sitting on your chest for months, check it. It is lighter. Not gone, lighter. Because meaning is the only thing that has ever made pain bearable, and tonight you were handed the meaning. Here is what you now know, and you will not lose it. You were pruned, not punished. The blade in your life was not the enemy's. It was the gardener's, and gardeners only cut what they intend to harvest. Some people were assigned to a chapter and refused to accept their exit, and I gave them one because you never would have. The 4 types I remove: the anchors who need your smallness, the mirrors that show you a stranger, the leaks that drain what I gave you, and the ones who were released for their own preservation because your calling would have crushed them. That the loss was both their choice and my decision, running in the same moment, and only one of those intentions is still shaping your life. That chasing what I removed does not just fail, it delays what I was making room for. That your discernment now has teeth. Watch the face when you bring good news. Watch what they do with your growth. Watch whether peace requires persuasion. Watch what your body already knows. That the vacancy is holy and must not be sold cheaply. And that what is coming was not thrown together in response to your prayers. It has been in preparation for years, in a life you have not met yet, being shaped by a difficulty that made no sense to them either. Chosen one, hear the final thing. You have believed that you were left behind. The truth is that you were carried forward, and the reason you did not recognize the movement is that you were looking backward the entire time. Turn around. The road ahead of you is not empty. It only looks empty from where you are standing, because you are standing at the end of the old thing and the new thing does not appear until you walk. That has always been how I move. The sea does not part until feet touch the water. The ram is not seen until the knife is raised. The provision is not visible until the obedience is complete. Take the step into the emptiness. I have never once let a chosen one step into emptiness and fall. And here is why you must come back. Because there is a second half to this message that I could not give you tonight. A specific set of instructions about who will enter your life first, what they will say, and the one mistake most chosen ones make in the first 90 days of a new season that costs them the connection I sent. I will speak that soon. Do not miss it. Make sure the notifications are on, because I do not always send twice. Before you go, if this reached the exact place it was aimed at, if you felt the moment it landed, press like and subscribe and comment 777 so this word is anchored in you and carried to the next person who is sitting in the dark tonight without an explanation. There is someone one scroll away from this, and your fingerprint on this message is what puts it in front of them. And if this has fed you and you would like to help these messages reach further, you can support this channel's videos by leaving a tip at the link in the pinned comment. Not a donation, a tip from one who was fed to the table that fed them. Every tip pushes this voice into another dark room where someone is asking the same question you asked at the beginning of this video. Now go. Sleep tonight without that name in your mouth. Nothing has been taken from you. Everything has been made ready for you. and the people I am sending have already begun to walk in your direction.